Shalom, everyone. This is Shlomo Katz. You're listening to the Soul of Israel. I feel like part of my soul is not really, hasn't really been complete for many reasons. One of them is because of the landofisrael.com network that I've been neglecting just due to world travels and the Jewish calendar. But my heart and soul is always with the station, is always with my dear friend, Rabbi Abram. Good morning.
Good morning, Rav
How are you,
Shlomo.
my friend?
Missed you a lot. Our
Missed
listeners
you.
have missed you a lot.
Missed everyone very, very much. All, I don't know if I could say good things. I think there's a very painful time in Am Yisrael with, as we spoke about the last time we were together, about the murder of our neighbor and dear friend Ari Fuld, which is still surreal when I say those words. Does not seem like it's real. And all the holidays and whatnot. And I was in the Ukraine last week, and I'm heading out to Canada next week. So there's just a lot going on. Baruch Hashem, by me, by you, by all of us. But if we could just grab a few minutes.
When we can.
That's what it's all about. You know, I was last week in Ukraine by the grave site of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov in the town of Uman, and his student, Rabbi Natan of Breslov, in the town of Breslov. And over Shabbos, I was learning a piece from Rabbi Natan of Breslov, a letter he had written to his son, Rav Yitzchak. And he wrote to his son, and he said to him, "My dear son, most people like to feel that things are working good for them when they achieved goals. And it's true, we should be goal-oriented to a certain extent. But the avoda, the holy work of today, is about lachtof regaim, grabbing moments. We have a few minutes now. Let's just grab them and take them to where Hashem allows us to take them to." So I want us all to become Hasidim of Avram Avinu for a few minutes, because, you know, the world was created 2 weeks ago in Parsha Bereshit. Then last Shabbos we learned about Noach. But until you hear like the words Avram, you know, the Jewish soul is just like, ah, and then you finally hear Avram Avinu, and you're like, ah, you get air. It's the 21st generation from the creation of the world, so approximately a few thousand years after the world was created, and you get this air. Avram Avinu. I want to be a follower of Avram Avinu. So Rabbi Nachman of Breslov tells us quite clearly how to become a follower of Avram Avinu. Many people, you know, if I'd ask the average person on the street today, I would say, what does it mean to you to become a chassid of Avram Avinu? How do you become a follower of Avram Avinu? So many people would say, open tent, open walls, you know, like inviting people, or spread monotheism and whatnot. And all those things are true and correct and part of the formation of the character that we're introduced to this week, the first Jew, Avram Avinu. But Rabbi Nachman says there's something inevitably, that basically there's something essential that can't be ignored in the characteristic traits of Avram Avinu, which enabled him to become Avram Avinu. And this teaching in the book Likutei Moharan, which is Rabbi Nachman of Breslov's magnum opus, is right in between the first part of the book and the second part of the book, where he quotes 3 words from Ezekiel. Echad aya Avraham. Abraham was one. There was no one like Abraham. How so? So Rabbi Nachman said that Avram Avinu saw himself as the only person in the world that existed in God's eyes while he was godding, meaning while he was on his trip, on his God search. He didn't look at anybody else. There was no one else that created any barrier. He was so involved and in tune with that which he believed God has set up for him, and only for him, which enabled him to become the person who he became. And you and I are sitting here today because of this exact work on himself. This is an essential work we do on ourselves. The Gemara says every person has to know Bishvili nivra olam. The world was created for me. In Slonim they say Bishvilim comes from the word Bashvil Sheli. On my shvil, on my path, the world is created. I essentially all I really have is the path that I create, that I look at and observe and see. This was given to me. But if I keep on wondering, what is he going to think? How are they going to receive it? My path is not my path. I don't even have a shvil. I don't have anything. Rav Shlomo Katz explains that Avram Avinu loved the world enough to not care what they think about him. That's a lost art. Because sometimes I have to push myself to the non-loving the world. I can't care what you think about me, so if I love you, I'll care too much about what you think about me. There's got to be a way that you love the world enough to not care what they think about what's important to you. You hear the difference between the two?
Yes.
This is what Rabbi Nachman is saying. Avram Avinu, when he served God or when he was discovering God, his tradition is so everlasting not because he didn't love the world and he didn't care. He loved the world enough to understand that true love means that I love you enough to stick to what I really believe, knowing that I love you too. Avram Avinu, when discovering monotheism, I don't want to get too much involved in the depths of that right now because it's not exactly as clear as discovering monotheism. There were others that believed in one God. But the manner in which Avram Avinu brought the consciousness of one God into the world, can you imagine if he thought too much about, well, how are they going to take what I have to say? Or I don't want to hurt his feelings, make him feel bad. Can you imagine if that was his thought process while being himself? But there's a part of that needs to, that we really, really need to return to on a religious level, on a national level, on a global level, on a social level, on an economic, all levels need to have how would you say Abrahamic,
Yeah.
Abrahamic revolution, not a revolution, a restoration.
Well, that's what a revolution is, to revolve.
Oh, it's interesting. I never thought about that. Usually people think revolution is
something
new. It's not. It's Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Right.
So when Rabbi Nachman was saying this about Avram Avinu, it became so clear to me that he was really talking about himself as well. And he was talking about anyone that wants to make a change in the world. Anyone that wants to make a change in the world. Anyone that wants to be real with themselves has got to somehow align himself with the manner in which Avraham became Avraham. It's very interesting. The Torah doesn't tell us a lot about Avram Avinu until he's 75 years old. What do we know about him? 75 years old, and God is saying, okay, it's you. Follow me. I'll appear to you where I appear to you. Things will be good. And everyone's always wondering, the following question, what happened to those 75, why aren't those 75 years mentioned? So now I'm thinking that it could be that maybe it took Avram 75 years to break through that as well. He's not born with this art of not caring. Sometimes you have to work a long time to reach that place. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe only at the ripe age of 75 was Abraham Avinu in this headspace, in this heart space of loving people enough to not care what they think about him in order to be the best version of themselves that they could be.
Right. I think there are people that cannot care, but to simultaneously really care about the people and not care what they think about you, striking that balance is a lifetime work. And that's what you were saying, I remember, on our last show together about Ari.
Yeah.
That he was not a slave to political correctness, but he was also not there to, anger people or upset people or shake people up.
Right.
He was just being emet.
That's right.
And what you see behind the scenes with him was that it was from a place of love.
That's right. That was not the point. Listen, what we're bringing up right now is a very big thing. This is not a simple thing. I'm so sorry that the show has to be very short today. Unfortunately, there's a little boy in our community that needs a big healing. Aaron, Meir, Ben Yael, Miriam. I'm going to the hospital right now to play for him, so I have to run. But what I do want to invite everyone, I really, I'm going to sound like a Polish guilting Jewish mother. I don't ask for much, but it would be incredible if we could get your help on this. If you could submit, whoever's listening, to take a minute, literally a minute, and submit a little prayer that you would compose, asking God for guidance about this exact matter. I think it would do wonders in the world. I know it would do wonders for me. But if you could take a minute and put together your thoughts while connecting to your heart and asking Hashem for guidance as to how to truly stay loyal to what you believe in while making it clear to everyone that you love them, would be absolutely revolutionary.
It's really hard because the world we live in with tribalism and virtue signaling and teams it's rare to be able to really liberate yourself
Very.
from identification with certain groups.
Very.
I know that I don't think I'm 100% successful
But
at
that's
it
a-
either, so I
but
need
that's
to submit my own.
Well, I just want to calm you down, and I did not expect perfection from you yet, my friend. So, but I think that that's exactly the point. Like what you raised is part of the prayer. Since this is such a difficult thing, Master of the world, it also is the way back to becoming our natural, authentic, traditional Jews, Abrahamic Jews, that know how to love and that know how to care while not really caring, which is a big thing. But this is Parshat Lech Lecha. This is how we're introduced to Avram Avinu. Sometimes you have to come back 5 reincarnations in order to get this one right. Let's try to nail it down this time. So for now, from the landofisrael.com network, this is Shlomo Katz with Rabbi Ari Abramowitz, sending a load of love, and hopefully we'll be together next week again.
Amen. Shalom.
Who are we as a people? Who are we as a nation? What does it mean to be a Jew in the land of Israel, as a Jew in Judea? What is our message to the world? We're finally back in our land, and we get to ask these questions.
Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to make Judea and Samaria an issue for the entire world, to know that the Jews have a place in the world.
Israel Inspired with Ari Abramowitz and Jeremy Gimpel on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.